This NewsHour is focusing on the rubber industry research. In this program, we introduce or contact or talk to the various researchers or they make presentations. Today, we have a guest, Dr. K. Rajkumar. Probably many of you may know him. He is a director of the Indian Rubber Manufacturers Research Association. We'll be discussing with him about IRMRA. Because shortly, Indian Rubber Manufacturers is called IRMRA, and also what kind of research activities and developments happening at IRMRA. Okay, let's welcome Dr. K. Rajkumar. Please come on board, sir. Hi, Rajkumar, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, thank you, Mr. Taram. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for joining the session today on the Rubber Industry NewsHour. And it's a pleasure to have you. Okay, so we get to going to take some, input and take your brains out of the, what's happening at IRMRA and research. I think you've been working with IRMRA for more than 25 years, close to 25 years, yeah.
About 23 years.
23 years, and you've been a director for the last seven years for the IRMRA. Can you give me some insights about what kind of changes happened or development or the progress happened under your leadership, please?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank Technobiz for giving this opportunity to share some of our research and developments happening at IRMRA. Under my leadership, I can say that a lot more changes I brought. For example, I have upgraded infrastructure of non-tire research, mainly for focusing the requirements for the non-tire industries, basically, especially for testing of the REACH, ROHs, and similar regulatory testing facilities. We upgraded. I also recruited a young scientific team, basically, to support this thing. So we have a young team right now with us to do research, mainly to focus industrial consultancy projects and tire as well as non-tire. You may be aware that IRMRA has also added tire testing facilities since last 10 years and taking along. So I'm also expanding the facility of tire testing at South India also. So I have created 2 branches under my tenure, basically. One in South, that is in Sri City, Andhra Pradesh, and second one is in Sarpal, Kolkata, basically, Eastern region, basically. So these 2 we have created. And more than that, of course, now our team is more focusing on the research and development, not only for the industry oriented, but also some basic fundamental research and creating the IPR, basically, intellectual property rights. I think last 5 years we have filed about more than 10 patents, around 12 patents. Whereas if you see the history of IRMRA last 60 years, even before 55 years, it was not given much focus on that. So maybe 4 or 5 patents were filed before 55 years. So last 5-6 years, we have filed more than 10 patents, basically. And similarly, it also goes for the publications, peer review publications. So this gives lots of branding and familiarity among the industries and scientific things. We also brought several academic collaborations at national and as well as international levels, basically. So more than about 20 MOUs I have facilitated to sign, basically, national level and international level, basically. They are mostly into academic collaborative research, then also some of them industrial collaborations and all, like, basically. And so we keep increasing the add-on facilities, and many things are happening. So maybe as you go on discussions, maybe it will come out.
Yeah.
One another important thing is that we also started a MSc course, basically, and human resource development. It is important to develop human resource, basically. So because we create lots of experience interacting with the industry, and so this knowledge needs to be disseminated to the human resource. So one of the area is we keep conducting the short-term courses, which you may be aware of it. But now, of course, another important is we also started this 2 years industrial polymer chemistry along with Mumbai University. So 1 year the campus, the students will be in the campus of Mumbai University, and second year they come to us in our campus, and that facilitated even more research. In fact, the students, when they come for the second year, they are taught theoretical as well as practicals. So every scientist have been given 1 or 2 students, and so apart from our own students, we also get the students from IITs, NITs, and other universities, leading universities. So we get a blend of students, our own students as well as other students. So with the students, our scientists also get some more knowledge and expansion, and so we enrich the research content. So more number of publications and patents, and also leading to furthermore industrial consultancy projects basically. So these are some of the developments which I can highlight at this moment. And expansion in terms of tire testing as well as non-tire product development facilities. Significantly we have improved the infrastructure, and that's the development actually. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, I personally I know you, and I've seen a lot of changes happen. I think since you've been the director. First of all, I congratulate you the progress you have done and the last 7 years. And I want to hit on the you guys have started this center in the south in Sri City, and is it similar facilities like what you have in Thane now, or what kind of things happening there? What kind of testing facilities is it supporting the southern region industries? Can you elaborate on the services provided there? Yeah.
South India, basically, one part is the South India is auto sectors. You may be aware that like lots of automotive industries are there in South India, and so the automotive industry and their supply chains basically. So the rubber industry mainly, who are making the auto rubber components, they used to send samples to IRMRA, whenever there is a need, of course, to Thane basically. Having started this facility in Sri City, Andhra Pradesh, gives more focused, the testing services to the local industry, and the number of members enhanced basically. Obviously now because of COVID, the progress has been slowed down, but we are now picking up with that actually. So there has been a jump in the beginning when we started. Actually, lots of welcome was there actually, and facility wise, if you see that like non-tire testing as well as tire testing, we plan to start basically. So, and especially the tire labeling project, which is likely to come. I think government has already announced that tire labeling program. So we have recently procured the wet grape tire facility. So that is there in Global Automotive Research Center, GARC Chennai, where the track is there. So our vehicle is being placed over there. So we will be, using their track and involved in testing. And so this is another development which we have done that actually.
So I think the southern region, Sri City also plays significant role, similar to the Thane. Yeah.
That's nice. That's right. Yeah.
How about the eastern region, Calcutta? How is the situation now there?
Eastern region basically, they are more into the non-tire. So the tire industries are not much. Whereas if you see that there are industries who are focusing on the defense products and nuclear products, and also footwear. So there are industries who are in that particular category. So mainly we are supporting the local suppliers, and also some of the corporate research. We started doing that now. Corporate, big corporates, they wanted to do some research on their own materials, and as well as product development, including their material into the product, and so that kind of research also is being initiated in Calcutta Center. And they are all accredited, even South Center as well as East Center accredited by National Accreditation Board in ABL, so that the testing certificates are accepted across the globe. Basically, that is a prerequisite for any testing laboratory. So we have all the non-tire testing facilities there also. Maybe the processing, we just added the processing facility so that small R&D supports, industrial consultancy supports that can be done also. So maybe slowly I'm building the capability basically.
So there will be any other region, like north side also will have any facility like this?
That's right.
Covering everywhere?
That's my another reason. Of course, so we have covered west. We are already there for several years now. East and south are covered. Having done these two things, we have already identified that number of industries and the members are growing basically. So similarly, I have also requested the government of India to strengthen and sponsor some funding facility to set up similar one in northern region basically. So the proposals are already with our government, which is under active considerations. Maybe near, very soon we will come up with the facility in northern region. So mainly to focus, developing the industrial competitiveness of Indian rubber industry to tap untapped potentials basically.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. But you talked about various researches happening at your center, both the industry oriented and as well as fundamental research. Can you talk more about what kind of areas you are addressing in your research? Of course, there are some customer client based research which you will talk about it, but the general areas of
yeah, I can only point out general because we are very very much confidentiality oriented organization. So because we signed NDA and confidentiality agreement with the customer. So but in generic way I can say that some of the failure investigations, then the new product evaluations, and then new materials, especially the biomaterials we can say now. The replacement of that is replacement of petrochemical additives. So the biomaterials and natural materials, lots of for example silica, and then inorganic fillers which are suitable for replacing the carbon black. So several nano fillers and modification of such materials. So these are some of the potential research which our team was doing, and based on our publications it attracted including the corporate customers. And so we started working on that. On an average, we conduct about 60 to 70 projects every year, basically. So 5-6 projects per month for various mostly non-tier research, basically. So this really, they come with problems, so we provide the solutions, basically. So our team is fully engaged, and they don't need to invest so much basically at their level. Basically, that is our advantage. So we having done so, whatever the lack of facilities are there, so I have requested government to support. So there are some schemes we already submitted to enhance the facilities, and whatever is possible apart from our self-sustaining our own recurring expenses, I also added a few facilities to immediate need basis, basically, and which is attracting more capital than I have requested our funding institutions to do things, basically. So that is another developments which we are doing, basically. So more focused into material research, process research, and then the failure investigation and solutions. Mainly they come forward to see a solution for such failures, whether it is a product failure or the process failure or such kind of thing. And also to some of them are benchmark, that they may be having a benchmark products in the market. We don't know whose product it is, but they come with some kind of benchmark. They want to match with that, basically. But we try to do some analysis and see what best need and how they can improve such kind of benchmarking analysis and guidance, mainly to the industry, that we do that actually.
A lot of times in particular case, big companies, they have their own in-house facilities or R&D. Even the medium scale also, sometimes they know what is the benefit of doing the research, but small scale, they still hesitant to
they can't afford
they
need a crores of
right.
Can't afford. Correct.
So you guys are
even if they put the infrastructure, even if they put infrastructure, they may not have manpower to man it out. That is another challenge, basically. Even we ourselves face difficulties. There's scientists, they come and very soon they leave, basically. So retaining the manpower is really one of the big challenge for the industries. First is that identifying the good talents, then retaining them. So this is a big challenge even for institute like IRMRA. We have that actually. So
I think it's all the same situation to everyone, I guess, So yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
You are also the active member of the current member of the ISO TC 45, which sets the bar for the standards for the ISO for particularly the rubber products. And what are the developments recently, happened in terms of the standards for the rubber products? And what else you would expect, in future? What any changes within any new standards for the rubber products? Yeah, please.
A lot change, basically. India is looking tremendous changes in this particular area. I can say, I think I'm a member of almost last 20 years almost. I started my the standardization career when I joined IRMRA in 99. I think I started my standardization in 2002. 2003 onwards, I became a member of ISO committee. So almost 20 years of long service. What I do is basically taking those ISO standards to Indian companies, and because and the industries are not very active in participation, whether it is national or international standardization. So, but I know as the Research and Development and Testing Institute, what the industries are facing. So I keep guiding them that this is what's happening at the global level, and there is a need for change in the specification at a national level. That is our Bureau of Indian Standards. And so we try to upgrade our standards to the level of international. And to that effect, I'm one of the chairman of the committee, Bureau of Indian Standard for the PCD 29, that is test methods, basically. In fact, after my chairmanship, I took over the chairmanship. There are most of the test methods of ISO has been adopted under dual numbering or equivalent standards in Indian standards. So that means any standard is upgraded at the ISO level, because ISO level, lots of efforts are put by several participating P members and contributing members of country, so several countries, and so lots and lots of inputs are getting into that upgradations. And having India is one of the participative, long active members. In fact, ISO TC 45 is one of the very, very active member in ISO body from India, of course. So we being contributing that, so we keep adopting such standards in India easily, basically. So we don't look for any major change, etc. So what we need only whether it can be adopted or not, and we need to just explore the possibilities. Are there any problems in adopting? If it is some problems, then we will just do some changes. In fact, the changes requirement also has taken up at ISO level for upgrading the standard. So we keep commenting in ISO level and get upgraded, and the same thing is being adopted in India at national level. So this is how we have developed that. So most of the test methods are upgraded to the ISO level, and so the product specifications are also getting slowly upgraded. And the latest developments, like I can say that environmental related regulations, basically. So such standards were not there in India. Now we are trying to adopt them over here with adopting similar ones. And for example, REACH, ROHS, all such materials, when we are exporting, there is a big I can say barricade, basically. So they have to test and get certified before it reaches the boundary. And whereas while coming, it is not that much to India, basically. But now the government of India has taken a lot of initiative to incorporate quality control orders. In fact, our own department, DPIIT now, has taken a lot of active interest in making the equal regulations stronger wherever possible, to see that the restrictions are imposed, not restriction, rather the global regulations, so that it is harmonized at the international level, basically. Earlier, our manufacturer used to make separate product for exports, one for India, another for export, like that. Now, at least with these changes, and at least they make one global product, which whether it could be sold at India or it could be outside also, and that's how. So government is giving a preference for Indian manufacturers, and if there is sufficient manufacturing facility, capability, and capacity is available in India, they are promoting that. And we are also identifying where possible we can upgrade, the capability and capacity. So all such things are happening basically. So I think next 5 years, much more changes are expected actually.
Yeah, you rightly said about the, people ask for the, I want to export to Europe. So let's first look at whether we are environmentally conscious, reach approvals or not. But it's okay in India, it's okay, or in some other Asian countries, it's okay. You don't need to follow. I think the uniformity is very important, so that of course the people living there, people living here, the same, of similar nature, and the standards has to be standardized everywhere.
Yeah,
when it comes to the you talk about ISO, in which area products, there are a lot of change happening in terms of what kind of rubber products, standards been improved.
Yeah, now one recent development happened is that the standards for the ties basically. In fact, a lot of ties are being imported from the neighboring countries, including China, basically. So huge imports are happening, and the standards are being reviewed and upgraded, and we are also bringing out new standards. So the Bureau of Indian Standard has made a new committee for ties, and of course with my experience, the Bureau of Indian Standard has put me as a chairman of that committee, and we are interacting with the local manufacturers and other associated testing agencies and stakeholders as members of that committee. And also the government of India has sponsored us to set up a center of excellence for design and development of toys, basically in IRMRA. So just recently, last week news, basically we got a sponsored project for setting up the center of excellence, mainly to support the toys sector, basically. So what we envisage out of this COE is basically to strengthen the testing infrastructure at IRMRA, along with the processing infrastructure which is available, to create more entrepreneurship for ties design and development. We are also partnering with major institute partners, IIT and NID and other IDMI and the other institutes in and around Mumbai and other states, basically. So plus we are also bringing out new test methods which are applicable for the ties, basically. So upgrading the product standards, then maybe it will be regulated by the government, basically. So these are some of the key areas where IRMRA is going to work very closely with the government as well as stakeholders, basically. That's one part. And second part is India is preparing a standard which is equivalent to REACH, basically. REACH, basically. So otherwise what happen, any product which are even if it is consumed, you have to go for REACH testing, and the testing of REACH compliance is very costly when we go, because this in compliance testing has to go to the Europe for mainly for testing and certifications, our associated laboratories. So we are bringing out equivalent standards in India, which is at the draft stage. In fact, IRMRA is making the draft. Very soon it will be circulated to the active members, and then it will be done, basically. So REACH, ROHs, all those things. Another important is that environmental related product, for example, extended producers responsibility of tires recycling, and some of the recycling of various rubber products like conveyor belt, any major product which are dumped in the environment. So the Ministry of Environment, along with the stakeholders, have created the news, I can say the notifications for regulation of such things is underway, basically. So that is another big change is going to be there. And the latex products, which are SBR latex, which are being imported for various applications, are being reviewed for notifications and all. So several initiatives are being taken up. For hoses, we made, of course, the LPG hoses for the domestic and industrial applications. They are already been regulated. Then the tires, global tire regulations are coming up. In fact, there another big change is going to be there in the near future. Already it is partly is being notified. Maybe the voluntary phase notification is already out, and maybe the the mandatory certifications will be very soon. It will be started actually.
Wow, you're doing a lot. There's so much on the plate, huh?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
you
of course.
mentioned nicely about this center of excellence for the toys, and so in the future, you guys are going to do like incubation for the startups, and because these kind of things can be good for the micro level enterprises, and that is also on the plate for you guys.
Yes, of course. So once we are into once the first thing is that we want to strengthen the infrastructure for testing and then the processing. And one of the lacuna which we have identified for IRMRA is the design. So we, in discussion with the government, we have partnered with some of the design institutes so that that can be strengthened. So once we have that strength, definitely it will be helpful for developing incubations, startups, new entrepreneurship development. So there will be a lot more seminars and welcome stakeholders meet. Many things is going to be happening basically. So maybe very soon we will be launching this project. So we received just last week, and so I'm preparing for implementations, taking some advice. We are making a project advisory committee by taking the various experts across the country who are already being in this business, and somebody has new innovative ideas. So we are working on that actually. So it's amazing, exciting project which we got it, and we want to take it up as a big challenge to see that it is very much operational. And even if we could make some 10%, 5% of the import substitutions, it will be a big success basically. We got more than about 5,000 crores worth toys are being imported every year, and it's a big money basically. And these toys basically is very short-lived species basically. So once the child play only till the next toy comes to its hand basically. So basically they just look for, so it could be 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, but after that it goes to the dustbin, and then goes to the wherever it is dumped, and then goes to the environment actually. So this is a big money which is being spent.
Don't tell me. I have 2 daughters, so I know how to deal with these toys. So I would touch on this, your tire testing facilities, and currently what kind of tests is happening there, and also you talked about the changes in the regulations of the tires. Can you a little more into the details about, in the regulation point of view, what changes you're expecting are going to happen soon? So.
Currently what happened, any toys are being imported, they are supposed to get it tested as per the Indian standard for the first time, and then only they are allowed to import and trade it in India actually. So that's the current situation basically. So that there are several toys testing laboratories have been accredited by National Accreditation Board, including IRMRA is one of the toys testing laboratory, and then it's being implemented. So now what changes we are making is basically more because what standards we have right now is a very generic standard, only 4 or 5 standards are there. But whereas the versatility of ties too many basically, there are several ties, wood based, clay based, plastics, rubber, and so on. So the materials are too many basically. So so many things are being looked at in a standardization level basically. So there is a big challenge even while standardizing it basically. So a lot of things are being happening. So at this moment we are in a very premature level for making new standards, whereas whatever is already available we are trying to implement it basically. So maybe it will take another 1 year or 2 years to come with many more standards to regulate basically. That's the thing.
Sure. I'd like to address the last point of view. So what's the plan okay, I see lots of activities. What is the future direction for the IRMRA under your leadership? How to be recognized as a world body or a rubber research center or something like that?
Yes, of course. Our vision is always there. Vision 2030 has been made, in focus, contributing. Rubber industry has got huge, tremendous potential. It's about 90,000 crores is a turnover, but it can be doubled or tripled. With near future, basically, if we are able to focus on this sector, basically. So the government is very much active in considering some of the schemes of the project what we projected, and the investment in the R&D needs to be strengthened, basically. So basically the global average R&D is about 1.7% of GDP, whereas India is about 1.2, and rubber industry is quite less, maybe 0.7 to 0.8%, which we come across in the things. And that too more happening investment in the tire industry. Non-tire is still less, basically. So to develop the non-tire industry's competitiveness, so IRMRA is one institute can be a lot of partner with the industry and states, basically. So I have proposed some new centers, of course northern region one center, also some second level and third level cities of country, wherein that there are possible entrepreneurs can come up, basically, especially those students come out from the colleges, they want to stay back in their home and they want to do some developing business, basically. So we want to take IRMRA into that level and see that, and those entrepreneurs can be nurtured. If what we are having right now is only at the metro cities where IITs and NITs, those students mostly they go abroad, basically. So we wanted to get into the low, second level, third tier cities, basically, where we can nurture the real talents of the another level of students who really runs the country, I can say right now, basically. So that's the part, basically. So we have proposed a few projects in that line. So maybe I wish that another 7-8 IRMRA centers is come at different level, if not a big level like where what we have at Thane, but at least a small incubation centers at different cities. So I have identified some 7-8 cities and proposed to the government and to see that. So to double the economy at least of rubber industry in next 5 to 6 years, and next 10 years maybe it could be tripled, basically. So so the developing the competitiveness is the one important. So where we identified some of the automation is needed, the process, raw material is a very very key issues we are facing, the raw materials, basically. So some of the raw material manufacturers we are discussing, so they wanted to increase the capacity of their facilities. So these are some of the issues we want to address, join hand with the government, so that the industrial competitiveness can be enhanced, improved, and so as to tap the export potential, and also the import substitutions. And one another part, of course, the latex industry. Latex is a big market again. So India is doing very, very, very little compared to the global opportunities, basically. So, so I'm also pursuing the government to see that, like, the latex industry can be more, strengthened. So we look for some investors from any countries, neighboring countries, who wants to come over here, make in India, invest in India. So these are some of the projects we would like to take it ahead, basically. So that's our vision. So IRMRA will definitely be there as a the strengthening R&D partner to identify the projects, viable projects, technological solutions, and scientific research to change the future, whether it is a material or the process. Anywhere we want to do that, so we can develop such things. That is our future vision, basically.
Thank you, Raj. It's really nice to know all the actions happening there at IRMRA, and I wish you the best. And I think the way I see the direction of IRM, what is they're doing is really sustainability of the rubber industry, both the tire and also non-tire segment, including talking about the latex products. Even you're also the way you look at the toys is it's also, it will be really useful in even the housewives also get involved. They know the tools, and they may be the future designers of the very for the products, the toy products also. I'm really thankful coming today for this session on the rubber industry research as a part of the Rubber Industry NewsHour. I wish you the best and also keep well. And I see you got to run, I guess. Lot to do. Yeah. So once again, thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Param, and it's been wonderful time we had to talk after a long time. Basically, I'm sure that this news will be spread over the industry, and any kind of collaborations which they would like to start with IRMRA, they can always dialogue with me, and they can most welcome anytime to IRMRA, whether it is Eastern Center or South Center, or even at West region. We are all there basically to see that wherever possible industry needs any kind of support, whether scientifically or technically, even including the manpower, we are ready to help for their own part of success basically. So we will always be a part of the industrial success. If the industry success is there, we are there, because it's always a give and take basically. So what they need, we do that. What we do, they need. So it's so if we do something, then they come over here and take it like that. So we try to bridge that gap and see that it is happening. That. Thank you once again, Mr. Para, for inviting me to share some of my experience actually.
Thanks, Raj. Thanks, Dr. Rajkumar. I'm sure that we'll be seeing each other in future sessions, with more informative, sessions with you. Thank you once
My
again.
pleasure.
Talk to you again. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Okay, that's about the rubber industry research session with Dr. K. Rajkumar. And yes, you can see what's happening at the IRMRA and activities and the research activities that so this is one of the prestigious and resourceful institute, and you guys all should get to know them.